There's something many men grow up never being taught. And it's not because women are trying to be mysterious. It's not manipulation. It's not a game. It's simply this. Human connection rarely arrives in bold, obvious declarations. When a woman begins to feel a desire for deeper closeness, she usually doesn't announce it in plain language. She doesn't walk up and clearly state her romantic intentions. Instead, her interest shows up in patterns. Quiet patterns. Layered behaviors. Subtle shifts in attention and energy. And unless you know what to look for, you can miss them completely. Research in nonverbal communication, including studies published in the Journal of Nonverbal Behavior, has shown that a significant percentage of attraction signals are missed in real time. Men frequently underestimate or fail to recognize subtle cues of romantic interest. That doesn't mean men are careless. It highlights how nuanced human signaling really is. Attraction is rarely a flashing neon sign. More often, it's a series of small green lights. And they only make sense when you learn to see the pattern. But before we go deeper, let's build a healthy foundation. There is a real difference between friendliness and intimate interest. Kindness, laughter, eye contact, warmth. These are part of normal social interaction. Intimacy, however, carries a different emotional texture. When someone shifts from general friendliness into deeper interest, their behavior becomes more intentional, more focused, more personal. The energy changes. The attention narrows. Psychological research on courtship behavior has identified dozens of subtle signals people use when they feel drawn to someone. Most of these behaviors are so understated that an outside observer wouldn't notice anything unusual. But once you understand the patterns, they become easier to recognize. And recognition changes how you respond. You stop guessing. You stop overthinking. You start engaging with clarity, and the nervous system is constantly scanning. Is this safe? Is this welcome? Is there something here? This is where awareness becomes important. If she initiates light, respectful contact and you freeze or completely ignore it, she may interpret that as discomfort. That doesn't mean you escalate. Doesn't mean you overreact. Healthy connection is about reciprocity, not pressure. A simple, natural response that matches her energy communicates openness. The second pattern, selective vulnerability. The next shift is less physical and far more powerful. When a woman begins sharing personal stories she doesn't typically tell everyone, that matters. Vulnerability is not random. It's selective. Psychologist Arthur Aaron's well-known research on structured personal disclosure demonstrated how emotional sharing can rapidly increase feelings of closeness between strangers. When people share meaningful experiences, fears, childhood memories, insecurities, or dreams, emotional intimacy accelerates. So if she begins opening up about a difficult moment from her past, a fear about her future, a sensitive family dynamic, she isn't just filling silence. She's offering you access to protected parts of herself. The key word is attunement. Notice the moment. Stay present. Respond in a way that feels authentic and respectful to both of you. An early trust is fragile. How you respond in those moments shapes everything. The healthiest response is not to problem solve immediately. Not to shift the conversation back to yourself. It's to listen. To reflect. To validate. That sounds really hard. Thank you for telling me that. I'm glad you shared that with me. Simple words, but powerful ones. Emotional safety is one of the strongest foundations of intimacy. When someone feels heard without judgment, closeness grows naturally. The third pattern, creating one-on-one space. Interest also shows up in logistics. When a woman wants to deepen connection, she often creates opportunities for private time. She suggests grabbing coffee after a group event. She lingers when others leave. She walks with you instead of rushing off. She sends a late-night message about something that could have waited. Research from the University of Kansas has shown that closeness develops through shared time and experiences. Moving from acquaintance to deeper connection requires hours together. When someone consistently creates space for undivided attention, they may be trying to accelerate bonding. It may look spontaneous, but repeated coincidental. Alone time is rarely pure coincidence. Context always matters. Not every invitation means romantic interest, but when it pairs with focused attention and emotional warmth, the pattern becomes clearer. Synchronization. When two nervous systems align. As connection deepens, the signals become even more subtle. They shift from isolated gestures to synchronization. One of the most fascinating dynamics in human attraction is mirroring. When two people feel drawn to each other, their nervous systems begin aligning unconsciously. You lean forward, she leans forward. You slow your voice, her tone softens. You take a sip, she reaches for her drink moments later. This isn't imitation. It's behavioral synchrony. Studies in social neuroscience, including research published in PLOS One, link mirroring with higher rapport and stronger perceived connection. When our bodies move together, our emotions often follow. Mirroring signals comfort. Our brains synchronize with people we feel safe around. And when you gently mirror her posture or tone, naturally, not exaggerated, you reinforce that harmony. It's not manipulation. It's mutual regulation. Two people finding rhythm. Language shift. Including you in the future. Pay attention to language. When interest grows, future-oriented language changes. Instead of, I want to try that restaurant, it becomes, we should try that place sometime. Instead of, I might go to that concert, it becomes, you'd love that show. Relationship researcher Dr. John Gottman calls small moments like this bids for connection. Inclusive language is often a subtle bid. It tests alignment. It explores shared possibility. She's not demanding commitment. She's asking gently, do you see this as something shared? Your response matters. If you engage warmly, the possibility expands. If you dismiss it, the invitation may quietly close. Vocal shifts, the science of tone. Voice is one of the most overlooked signals. Research from the University of Stirling in Scotland has shown that women often unconsciously adjust their vocal pitch when speaking to someone they find attractive. The tone softens. The pace slows. The rhythm becomes warmer. This isn't performance. Attraction activates physiological changes that influence breathing, muscle tension, and vocal tone. The voice carries emotional information beyond words. You may notice her energy shift when she turns from the group to speak directly to you. Volume lowers. Focus sharpens. The moment feels more intimate. These cues are difficult to fake consistently because they are rooted in the nervous system. But remember, signals are indicators, not guarantees. They open the door. Clear communication keeps the path safe. How to respond without ruining it. Now here's the most important part. Awareness without emotional maturity can turn into overconfidence or misinterpretation. The goal is not to assume intimacy. The goal is to recognize possibility. When multiple signals cluster together, touch, vulnerability, one-on-one time, mirroring, inclusive language, vocal warmth, you're likely witnessing investment. Investment of attention, investment of time, investment of emotional energy. An investment deserves respect. The biggest mistake people make after learning attraction cues is rushing. They think signs equal certainty, but subtle signals are invitations, not contracts. If she initiates light touch, reciprocate gently. If she shares vulnerability, be steady and consistent. If she creates private time, show up fully present. If she includes you in future language, engage the possibility honestly. And at the right moment, clarity matters. Something as simple as, I really enjoy spending time with you. That shifts everything. It moves the dynamic from silent guessing to mutual understanding. Clarity reduces anxiety. It builds safety. The 3 pillars of healthy intimacy. Real connection rests on 3 pillars. Safety. Both people feel free to express themselves without fear. Reciprocity. Energy flows in both directions. Respect. Boundaries are honored at every step. No amount of subtle signaling replaces the importance of consent and mutual enthusiasm. Attraction is dynamic. It can grow, plateau, shift. Emotional health means staying grounded regardless of outcome. If behavior changes, respond with curiosity, not accusation. In the end, what these signals really communicate is simple. When she touches you gently, shares personal truths, creates space to be alone, mirrors your movements, includes you in her future language, softens her voice around you. What she's saying in a language older than words is, I feel something here. Do you feel it too? And that question deserves presence, not pressure, not entitlement, not assumption. Presence. Most missed opportunities in relationships don't happen because attraction wasn't there. They happen because someone wasn't fully present to notice it. When you cultivate awareness without becoming intrusive, when you respond with steadiness instead of ego, when you engage with sincerity instead of strategy, you stop trying to win connection, and you start building it. Intimacy is not built through grand declarations. It's built in quiet moments. A lingering glance, a softened voice, a shared laugh that lasts a little longer than expected, a conversation that goes deeper than planned. When you learn to recognize those moments and meet them with authenticity, you stop wondering whether you missed your chance. You become someone who sees clearly, listens deeply, shows up fully, and that is where real intimacy begins.